Chapter 2. The Reality of Viking Violence. 3 weeks have passed since you first woke in this longhouse. You're beginning to adapt to the rhythm of life here, the constant work, the perpetual hunger, the cold that never fully goes away. But you're also starting to notice things, disturbing things. Things that shatter whatever remaining romantic notions you might have held about Viking culture. It's early morning, and you're walking past one of the storage buildings when you hear sounds. Not the normal sounds of work or conversation, but something else. Muffled crying, the sound of flesh hitting flesh. A man's voice, low and threatening. You peer around the corner of the building. What you see makes your stomach turn. One of the male thralls is pinned against the wall by a free man named Bjorn. Bjorn is young, maybe 20, the Jarl's nephew. He's considered a promising warrior, someone who will likely go on raids next season. And right now, he's beating the thrall methodically, almost casually. The thrall isn't fighting back. He can't. To resist a free man is to invite death. So he stands there, taking the blows, his face already swelling, blood running from his nose. "You spilled the milk," Bjorn says between punches. "Clumsy slave. That was milk for my mother's breakfast." The beating continues for another minute, then stops. Bjorn walks away, not even breathing hard, leaving the thrall collapsed against the wall. You're shocked, horrified. But as you look around, you realize no one else is paying any attention. An older woman walking past glances at the beaten thrall and keeps walking. A child playing nearby doesn't even look up. This is normal. This is everyday life. You want to help the thrall, but you're not sure what you can do. As a free person, you technically have the right to intervene, but it would be seen as strange, inappropriate even. Thralls are property. What Bjorn did is no different than someone beating their dog. The thrall slowly gets to his feet, wipes blood from his face with his sleeve, and limps back toward the longhouse to continue his work. By evening, his face will be a mass of bruises. No one will comment on it. No one will ask if he's okay. This is your first real understanding of what slavery means in the Viking Age. It's not some abstract historical concept. It's brutal, casual violence inflicted on people who have no recourse, no protection, no hope. Later that day, you're working on repairing nets with some of the other men when the conversation turns to the upcoming raiding season. Summer is approaching, which means the seas will be calm enough for longships to make the journey to other lands. "I'm going west this year," says Olaf, the experienced fisherman. "There's good raiding in Ireland, monasteries full of silver, and the Irish kingdoms are always fighting each other. They can't unite against us." "I want to go to England," says a younger man named Eric. "My cousin went last year, came back with enough silver to buy 2 thralls and a new sword." They discuss raiding the way modern people might discuss a business trip. It's just what you do, how you make your fortune. The fact that it involves killing people and burning their homes is just part of the job. "What about Francia?" someone asks. "I heard they're better defended now. Charles has built forts along the rivers." "Bah!" Olaf spits. "Franks are soft. Their soldiers wear too much armor, can't move fast. We hit them hard and fast, take what we want, and leave before their army can mobilize." You realize these men have done this before, multiple times. They're veterans of what we would call war crimes: rape, murder, slavery, theft, all conducted with the blessing of their community and their gods. The Christian women, Eric says with a grin. They scream so much when we arrive, but they're pretty and they fetch a good price at the slave markets. The others laugh. They're not joking. They're talking about kidnapping women, transporting them hundreds of miles from their homes and selling them to the highest bidder. And they see nothing wrong with it. I took a woman from Northumbria once, Olaf says. She was maybe 16, daughter of some local lord, fought like a wildcat, had to knock her unconscious to get her on the ship. Did you keep her? Someone asks. For a while, used her through the winter, but she tried to escape, so I sold her to a trader heading to Miklagard. He shrugs. Got a good price, though. Those Greek buyers pay well for young Christian girls. Your mind is reeling. Miklagard is what the Vikings call Constantinople. He's casually describing human trafficking on an international scale, capturing a teenager in England, raping her for months, then selling her to someone who would transport her to the Byzantine Empire, thousands of miles from her home. And everyone listening treats this as a perfectly normal story. Because it is. This is what Vikings do. That evening, you're helping prepare the fire when the Jarl makes an announcement. The thing will be held in 3 days, he says. We'll travel to the assembly site tomorrow. Everyone must attend. The thing is the Viking assembly, a combination of legal court, political gathering, and social event. It's where laws are recited, disputes are settled, and important decisions are made. It's also where marriages are arranged, business deals are struck, and news is shared. The next day, the entire household begins preparations for the journey. It's not far, maybe a day's walk, but it requires supplies, food, tents, goods to trade, weapons. Yes, weapons. The thing is supposed to be a peaceful gathering, but violence is always a possibility. Feuds between families can erupt at any time. A man who feels insulted might challenge someone to a duel. Even at a legal assembly, death is never far away. You set out early in the morning. The entire household travels together. The Jarl, his family, the free men and women, the children, and some of the thralls. Other thralls are left behind to maintain the settlement. The path follows the fjord for a while, then cuts inland through a valley. It's rough terrain, rocky and steep in places. The thralls carry the heaviest loads, bent under the weight of supplies, while free people walk unburdened. By evening, you've reached the thing site. It's a large natural amphitheater, a bowl in the landscape where hundreds of people can gather. Already, many have arrived. Tents and temporary shelters dot the area. Cooking fires send smoke into the evening sky. This is the largest gathering of people you've seen since arriving in the Viking Age. There must be 400 or 500 people here, drawn from settlements all along this section of the coast. Your group sets up camp. Tents are raised, fires started, food prepared. All around, people are greeting friends and relatives they haven't seen since last year's thing. News is exchanged, marriages are discussed, business is conducted. But you also notice something else. Tension. There are groups of men standing apart, glaring at each other. You overhear muttered conversations about blood feuds, unpaid debts, insults that need to be avenged. That night, as people gather around fires to eat and socialize, you learn more about how Viking justice actually works. 2 families are in dispute. A man named Thorgrim killed another man named Halvard during a drunken brawl last winter. Halvard's family wants compensation. Thorgrim's family thinks the killing was justified because Halvard insulted Thorgrim's wife. This will be settled at the Thing, but not by police or judges as we know them. Instead, both families will present their cases to the assembly. The free men gathered will listen to the arguments and evidence, then vote on what should happen. The possibilities include Thorgrim pays Vöggild, man price, a monetary compensation to Halvard's family. The amount depends on Halvard's social status. Thorgrim is declared an outlaw, meaning anyone can kill him without legal consequences. He'll be banished and stripped of his property. The killing is ruled justifiable, and no compensation is owed. The two families settle it through holmgang, a ritualized duel. There's no concept of prison or rehabilitation. Justice is about compensation, revenge, or death. The next morning, the Thing officially begins. The law speaker, an old man who has memorized the laws since they're not written down, stands on a large rock and begins reciting the legal code. His voice carries across the assembly. The laws cover everything: property rights, inheritance, marriage, murder, theft, insults, proper behavior. Everyone listens respectfully because these laws are all that stand between civilization and total chaos. After the law recitation, individual cases begin to be heard. The dispute between Thorgrim's family and Halvard's family is first. Representatives from both sides present their arguments. Witnesses are called. The exact sequence of events is debated. Was Thorgrim defending his honor? Was Halvard too drunk to be held responsible for his insult? Did Thorgrim use excessive force? The free men of the assembly listen, ask questions, and eventually vote by show of weapons. Those who support Thorgrim raise their spears. Those who support Halvard's family do the same. It's close, but ultimately Thorgrim is ordered to pay Vöggild. The amount is set at 120 ounces of silver, a huge sum. Thorgrim looks stricken. He doesn't have that much silver. This is where things get complicated. If Thorgrim can't pay, Halvard's family has the right to take his property. His livestock, his land, even his family members can be seized as thralls to satisfy the debt. Or Halvard's family can declare a blood feud, giving them the legal right to kill Thorgrim or his family members in revenge. Thorgrim's father steps forward. "I will pay the Vöggild," he announces. "It will take time to gather the silver, but it will be paid by next Thing." Halvard's brother considers this. "We want half now, half at the next Thing, and if you default, we take your ship and your thralls." Thorgrim's father nods grimly. The deal is struck. Hands are clasped. The case is settled. But you can see the hatred in the eyes of both families. This dispute may be legally resolved, but the resentment will simmer. One perceived slight, one drunken insult years from now, and the whole thing could explode into violence again. This is how Viking society maintains order, not through police or courts, but through a delicate balance of reputation, compensation, and the threat of violence. Your honor is everything. An insult to your honor must be avenged, or you lose status and become vulnerable. The Thing continues throughout the day. Other cases are heard. A woman accuses a man of stealing her sheep. Witnesses testify. The man is found guilty and must pay compensation plus a fine. A couple wants to divorce. In Viking society, women can actually initiate divorce, which is relatively progressive for the time. The property is divided according to what each brought to the marriage. it's remarkably civil. A merchant accuses another merchant of selling him a slave with hidden defects. The slave in question is brought forward, examined like livestock. It's determined the seller deliberately hid the fact that the slave has a lame leg. The seller must refund the purchase price. Then comes a case that makes your blood run cold. A man named Ulf is accused of murdering his neighbor's son. The evidence is overwhelming. Multiple witnesses saw him do it. He doesn't even deny it. But Ulf argues the killing was justified because the boy, who was only 14, insulted Ulf's lineage by suggesting Ulf's grandmother was a thrall. "My honor was at stake," Ulf declares to the assembly. "No man can call my blood tainted and live." The victim's father, a broken man still in shock from losing his son, pleads for justice. "He was just a boy. A stupid comment from a child. My son didn't deserve death for that." The assembly debates. Some argue that honor must be defended at all costs. Others say killing a child over words is excessive. The law speaker is consulted about precedents. Finally, a compromise is reached. Ulf must pay Vergild, but at a reduced rate because the insult was significant. He must pay 30 ounces of silver. The father is devastated. His son's life is worth 30 ounces of silver and some murdered honor. But he has no choice. To reject the judgment is to reject the law, which would make him an outlaw. You're witnessing the harsh reality of Viking justice. Life is cheap, honor is expensive, and the line between legal killing and murder is terrifyingly thin. That afternoon, there's entertainment. 2 men have agreed to settle a dispute through holmgang, ritual combat. The rules are specific. They fight on a cloak spread on the ground. If you step off the cloak, you lose. Each man has 3 shields. When all your shields are destroyed, you fight with just your weapon. First blood wins, though fights can continue until someone yields or dies. The combatants are a young man named Asmund and an older warrior named Rolf. The dispute is over a woman. Both men want to marry the same girl, and her father has said he'll give her to whoever wins. The girl herself stands watching, her face unreadable. She has no say in this. Her future husband will be determined by which man is better at violence. The fight begins. Both men have swords, expensive weapons that mark them as relatively wealthy. They circle each other on the cloak, shields raised. Rolf strikes first, a powerful overhead blow that splinters Asmund's shield. The younger man stumbles but recovers. He counters with a quick thrust that Rolf barely blocks. The crowd is shouting, placing bets, cheering their favorites. This is entertainment, a break from the tedium of legal proceedings. The fight continues. Shields are hacked apart. Both men are breathing hard. Sweat pours down their faces despite the cool spring air. Then Asmund makes a mistake. He overextends on a strike. Rolf sees the opening and takes it. His sword comes down on Asmund's forearm, cutting through cloth and flesh. Blood wells up, bright red against pale skin. First blood. The fight is over. Asmund drops his sword, clutching his wounded arm. Rolf is declared the winner. He'll marry the girl. Asmund gets nothing but a wound that may or may not heal properly. The girl is handed over to Rolf like property. Because that's what she is. Women in Viking society have more rights than in many other medieval cultures. But they're still fundamentally subject to male authority. As evening falls, the mood at the thing shifts from business to celebration. Mead flows freely. People are drinking heavily, and you know from experience that Vikings and alcohol are a dangerous combination. Mead is the drink of choice, made from fermented honey, water, and whatever herbs or fruits are available. It's potent, far stronger than modern beer, and Vikings drink it in quantities that would hospitalize a modern person. You watch as the drinking begins. Men challenge each other to drinking contests. Boasts are made, stories are told, growing more exaggerated with each horn of mead. "I once killed 5 men in a single battle," declares a warrior named Egil, his words slurring. "5?" scoffs another. "I killed 8 at Lindisfarne, cut through them like wheat." The numbers grow more absurd with each retelling. 10 men, 15, 20. Everyone knows they're exaggerating, but no one calls them out directly. To do so would be to insult their honor, which could lead to violence. Women are drinking too, though generally less heavily. They gather in groups, talking and laughing. Some are clearly interested in the young warriors, eyeing them speculatively. Marriages are often arranged, but affairs and premarital sex are not uncommon. As the night wears on and people get drunker, the violence you knew was coming begins to erupt. It starts with an argument between 2 men over something trivial, whose family owns a particular piece of shoreline. Voices rise. Insults are traded. Suddenly one man shoves the other. Friends rush in to separate them. For a moment, it seems the fight will be contained. Then someone from the second man's family throws a punch at someone from the first man's family. All hell breaks loose. Within seconds, 20 men are involved in a sprawling brawl. Fists fly. Men go down. Women scream. Children run for safety. Weapons are drawn. Not swords, which are too valuable to risk in a drunken brawl, but knives. Everyone carries a knife. You see a man stab another in the shoulder. Blood sprays. The wounded man howls and falls. His brothers surge forward, and now it's a full-scale fight. The Jarl from your settlement and several other respected men wade into the chaos, roaring for order. Slowly, reluctantly, the combatants are separated. Several men are bleeding from knife wounds. One has a broken arm. Another is unconscious. Whether from a blow or from drink, it's unclear. The instigators are identified. They're ordered to pay fines and stay away from each other for the rest of the thing. The wounded are tended to with basic first aid. Wounds washed with water or mead, bandaged with cloth. No stitches, no antibiotics. They'll either heal or they won't. The man stabbed in the shoulder is in bad shape. The blade went deep, possibly hitting something vital. He's pale and shaking, going into shock. His family carries him to their tent, but you know his chances aren't good. If the wound gets infected, he'll die in agony over the next few days. This is Vikings being Vikings. Violence is always simmering just beneath the surface, held in check by social pressure and the threat of consequences. But add alcohol, male pride, and old grudges, and it explodes. The rest of the night is tense. People continue drinking, but more carefully now. The memory of the brawl is fresh. No one wants to be the cause of the next fight. You eventually fall asleep in your tent, the sounds of drunken singing and arguing drifting through the night air. The next morning, you wake to the news that the man stabbed in the shoulder died during the night. His family is grief-stricken and furious. They want revenge, but the thing has already ruled on the matter. The stabber must pay Wergild. If the victim's family seeks blood revenge beyond that, they'll be outlawed. The victim's brother doesn't care. "I'll kill him," he swears. Law or no law, My brother's death will be avenged. He's talked down by cooler heads, reminded that if he acts rashly, his entire family could suffer. But you can see the hatred in his eyes. This isn't over. It will never be over. Blood feuds can last for generations. This is the cycle of violence that defines Viking society. Every killing demands revenge. Every revenge demands counter-revenge. Some feuds have been going for so long that no one remembers what started them. They just know that their family and that family are enemies, and the killing must continue. The thing concludes the next day. People pack up and head back to their settlements. You walk back with your household, but the mood is subdued. The death has cast a pall over what should have been a positive gathering. On the way back, you pass a lonely farmstead. Something seems wrong. The door to the longhouse is hanging open. No smoke rises from the roof hole. Your Jarl orders a halt. Several men, weapons drawn, approach cautiously. Inside the longhouse, they find a scene of horror. An entire family has been killed. Man, woman, 3 children, all dead. The man's body shows defensive wounds. He tried to fight. The woman and children were simply slaughtered. The longhouse has been looted. Anything of value is gone. This wasn't a random attack. This was deliberate. Raiders, the Jarl says grimly. Probably Danes. They've been pushing into our territory. You realize that Vikings aren't just raiders. They're also victims of raids. The same violence they inflict on others can be inflicted on them. No one is safe. The bodies are buried quickly. There's no elaborate ceremony. The Jarl claims the land since there are no surviving heirs. Life goes on. This casual attitude toward death shocks you. These were people, including children, murdered in their home. But everyone just moves on. Death is so common here that it barely registers unless it's someone you personally care about. Back at your own settlement, life returns to its normal rhythm. The fields need tending. The animals need care. The work never stops. But you notice something new. The men are sharpening weapons. Armor is being checked and repaired. The longship pulled up on the beach is being prepared for sea. We leave in 2 weeks, Olaf tells you. The raiding season begins. You'll come with us. Your stomach drops. You knew this was coming, but hearing it stated so directly brings it home. You're going to participate in a Viking raid. Over the next 2 weeks, preparations intensify. The longship is caulked with tar made from pine resin to seal any gaps between the planks. The sail, a large square of wool that took months to weave, is checked for damage and repaired. Ropes are checked. Oars are inspected. Weapons are prepared. Swords are sharpened on whetstones. Axes are given new edges. Spears are checked to ensure the heads are secure. Shields, made of wood with leather coverings, are repaired or replaced. Mail armor is rare and expensive. Only the Jarl and a couple of the wealthiest warriors have it. Most men will fight in leather armor or just thick wool clothing. Some have helmets, simple iron bowls that offer basic protection. Many have nothing. The plan is to raid the coast of Northumbria, in what is now northeastern England. There are monasteries there, rich with silver and gold, poorly defended. Easy targets. You're given a spear and a shield. The spear is simple, a wooden shaft about 6 feet long with an iron point. The shield is round, made of linden wood, with an iron boss in the center. It's heavier than you expected. You probably won't need to fight, Olaf tells you. You're not a warrior, but you need to look like you could fight. That's often enough. The night before departure, there's a sacrifice to the gods. An animal, a sheep, is slaughtered. Its blood is sprinkled on the longship and on the men who will sail in it. The meat is cooked and eaten in a communal meal. The Jarl speaks. We go to seek our fortune in the lands of the Christians. May Odin grant us victory. May Thor protect us on the sea. May Freya smile upon our return. Everyone drinks to this, horns of mead raised to the sky. You're terrified. You're about to cross the North Sea in an open boat, traveling hundreds of miles to attack people who have done nothing to you. And if you're successful, you'll be party to murder, looting, and possibly kidnapping. But you have no choice. To refuse would mark you as a coward, useless. Your status in the community would plummet. You might even be cast out. So you'll go. You'll participate in what history will remember as the Viking Age. You'll become part of the nightmare that medieval Europeans feared above all else. The next morning, at first light, the raiding party assembles. There are 30 men in total. The longship can carry more, but some must stay to protect the settlement. The ship is pushed into the water. You climb aboard, finding a place on one of the rowing benches. The wood is worn smooth by generations of rowers. Oars out, the Jarl commands from his position at the steering oar in the stern. 30 oars, 15 on each side, extend from the ship. You grip yours, feeling the weight of it. Row! You pull. The ship begins to move, slowly at first, then faster as 30 men find their rhythm. The shore recedes. The settlement grows smaller. You're leaving Norway. Ahead lies the open sea and whatever fate the gods have in store for you. The crossing will take 3 days if the weather holds. 3 days of rowing, of freezing spray, of eating dried fish and drinking stale water from skin bags. 3 days to think about what you're about to do. As the Norwegian coast disappears behind you, and there's nothing but gray sea in all directions, you realize there's no turning back now. You're a Viking, and you're going to war.